give up all its reasons. This new day calls our name. Light up the day with love. We'll find a way as one. Across the world our lives unfold. We're here together. Every moment now, a song to sing out loud. Every road we find, we climb. We are one. We've come so far. We are breaking through. We're standing on the edge of a better view. Who will you be? Don't give up this fight. Tomorrow starts today. All we need is time. Time can pass 1,000 seasons and never give up all its reasons. This new day calls your name. Light up the day with love. We'll find a way as one. Across the world our lives unfold. We're here together. Every moment now, a song to sing out loud. Every road we find, we climb. We are
Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I don't know. Can you hear me? I can read the comments. I hope you can hear me and you can see, right? Okay, I'm very excited about today. Oh, the alarm. It's ringing. Okay, I'm very excited about today because it may be the last lesson, but I still have a ton that I can teach and share. So maybe I'll come in once in a while. I'll just put it, if I do later after this, if I do come in again, I will make a post about 12 hours ahead, but whatever I teach here, I will keep in the group. So, and I don't know if I have, hi Kendra, hi Bill. I don't know if I've talked about this. Gretchen has been helping me at the background. She's one of our Royal Crown Diamonds in the team. And she's been, she and I have set up a link to donate at the Young Living Foundation. I rarely talk about it because I always forget. But I would love to be able to see how much money I can raise through teaching about Young Living, how much money I can raise for Young Living Foundation. So there's a specific link that we've put in the group. I'm going to revive that after this class, so that if you feel like you want to donate, I would like you to donate the amount that you think of the value that you've gotten out of this for 13 classes. So meaning if you think the class was worth $100, then you donate $100. If you think, well, it's worth $100, but I can only afford 10, it's still fine. As long as I see that somebody is donating, I know that I've given you value, because I always feel like money is a tool, right? It's a tool. It represents something. It's not, it cannot buy anything. I believe the things that are most priceless, most worthy cannot be bought. Like maybe not knowledge, definitely not friendship, definitely not loyalty, and things of the sort that you cannot purchase with money. However, I do believe the exchange in energy. So when we are teaching, when we are giving value, I would like to see what kind of value that I've given you in the past, 14, 13 weeks, which is over like 3 months, right? I've really made connections with a lot of you. And I would love for you to be able to donate just $5, $10. If you can afford it, donate a bit more, $100. Because, in fact, the people who took it from my team, they all have to donate 65 US dollars in order to get into the Chinese group. I'm doing this free for everybody because I don't know how it is in the US now. And but for the people who cannot afford it in Hong Kong, they can find their upline, and their upline will do a watch party for them, which is free, because their upline has already paid and their upline is in the group. So that's what I've been doing in our team in Hong Kong. So I would love for you to be able to donate to Young Living Foundation, because the money goes to charity anyway, and all the admin fees are paid by Young Living, and I think that's a great cause. So we do a bit of charity, and we give a bit more to the world, to the people who need it. Anyway, so today I'm going to be talking about essential oils. Um, I'm hoping that I can give you the value that you cannot get anywhere. I'm very excited about today because this morning, I know that is in the US is at night. In Hong Kong, it's actually Thursday morning. You can see the sun, like this is natural sunlight. It's very bright. It's been raining and sun shining. So a lot of people in Hong Kong have been seeing a lot of rainbows, which is amazing. And so this morning in the US, they're doing Gold Retreat at the St. Marie's Farm. And Ben Riley got Brad Chatterley to talk to the Diamonds about sourcing, which I have got the approval from Ben Riley, our CEO, to screen cap and share some of what Brad told us about sourcing. I was going to just screen cap and retell what Brad said. However, as I was screenshotting and adding it into this presentation, which I actually only watched the video 2 hours ago. So I was frantically trying to input all those information in. I realized Brad said it much more eloquently than I could be able to. So I hope with Ben's blessing, I'm okay to do a screen recording, which I will play today. Everything is compliant. It's information that we have to get out there. So I don't see a reason why I cannot. So Ben has given me the blessing to share the screen cap, but I haven't asked about the video, but I'm quite sure it's okay. Because it's super important information, and some of the information I know already, but I'm never able to express it as eloquently and as accurately as the people who are doing the sourcing. So since I have it on video, I'll just share the video. And I will also be sharing the presentation from 2013 convention that I got on testing essential oils. So this will basically, the next 2 hours will be basically telling you what we do, how we do the essential oils, and how we test it, how we source it, and how other people source it, how other companies source it. So I'm very passionate about the quality of the essential oils. I'm not, I sometimes I don't like to say that I'm passionate about essential oils because not all essential oils are made the same. So I'm passionate about Young Living essential oils, and it's very specific. I'm not passionate about essential oil in general. I've had my experience. I'm going to share that, and I'll tell you why I'm not. But since I've got Young Living, it has turned my world upside down. Okay, so let's start. Let me share screen. I hope the information that I'm giving you today will have amazing, great value for all of you who have Young Living essential oils at home or who are thinking about having essential oils at home. And feel free to share it with your team, add your teammates here. If you've got people whom you would like to share this with who are not yet Young Living members, I would like you to do share watch party with them. I do not like, I have no plans to add non-members into the group. Okay. All right, let's start. All right. Before we go into Young Living, I will share my own essential oil experience with everybody first so that you know where I came from. So I started using essential oils back in the 90s when I was in my early 20s. It's very common. Back then, it was already quite popular in Hong Kong. It's more like the niche and we use it for the smell. They use it in the spa. Sometimes they would, in the really high-end spa, they would add it in the massage oil. Mostly it's British base. It is British way to use essential oils. So the brands that I personally have used, I started with an Australian brand, but not Jurlique. I can't remember what brand it was. It is already. I received a whole box of it for my birthday. It was like a wooden box. I don't even know where that wooden box is. I think I must have thrown it away. I still have some of those essential oils left. Most of them I've thrown away after I started with Young Living. I've also used Jurlique. I have used Alchemia, which is a Spanish brand. I have used News Yard, which is a UK brand. Primavera, which is a German brand. Oracacia, which is a US brand. And Oxidans, which is a French brand. So I have used essential oils back in the 90s, back in 1993, when I first received my first box of essential oils. I have since used different brands from the US, from Australia, from Spain, from Germany, France, and UK. And to me, essential oils back then in history, to me, it was something that smelled nice. It was something that is good. It's feel-good factor. It helps you with making you feeling better and smelling better and the house smell better. I only used it on my massage. I always used it diluted because it would burn my skin. I have very sensitive skin, except for the lavender from Occitan. This is a French brand. As you can see, I screen capped this from the French website. Okay, from the original website. And this is because this is a Spanish brand. It's also the prices are also in euro. This one I screen cap from our Hong Kong website, but it's a UK brand. These are all sold in Hong Kong. Yes, these are all sold in Hong Kong. So essential oils isn't a new thing to me. And the prices of Young Living is not expensive to me because look, this is a 10 ml bottle and they sell, oh, sorry, this is a 5 ml bottle and they sell it for 14 euros, which is 140 Hong Kong, which is about 15 US dollars. No, about 16 to 17 US dollars for a 5 ml bottle. Okay, so Young Living is not expensive. And Alchemia, 10 ml grapefruit, 34 euros, which is about 40 US dollars, okay? About $40 US dollars for 10 ml grapefruit. Do you know how much we buy grapefruit for? It's like, I don't know, 12 bucks, $15, something like that, right? Sandalwood, 5 ml, they sell it for 75 euros, which is about 84. It was about at 20%, is the US. So this is about $90. Okay, about 90 US dollars for 5 ml, which is about the same price as the one that we sell. Okay, and News Yard, which is a UK brand, this is frankincense. They sell a 10 ml bottle for $245. Hong Kong, which is about 30 US. Yeah. So if you calculate this 15 so this is a little bit more compatible. It's a little bit cheaper than Young Living, but still not cheap, you know. And Auracacia is much cheaper. Okay, Jurlique is about the same price. So these are, they call it really high-end, high-quality essential oils. Oh, yeah, I forgot to show everybody the triangle that I have made to show quality of essential oils. Let me see if I can find it right. I may be able to, because I have I actually translated this from Chinese, as I said, but let me see. But because I have taught this class, I've taught essential oils many, many times to my team. So a lot of the information they already have. However, I feel like maybe you're not as familiar as what I usually teach. I hope I can find it right now. It's a little infographic that I've made. I have shown corporate and they said it's really good. It really represents what the quality of essential oils in the market is. I can find it. It's a JPEG. See, I'm trying to look it up. Find it in my computer, which has a lot of different stuff. If I can find it on my phone and airdrop it, let me see. I think this is important for everybody to know. Sorry, I'm not more prepared. You know what? Let me show you a video while I look for that. Okay, I'm gonna look for that in a moment. So I'm gonna continue. So essential oil history. I actually got this source is from Brad Chatterley. He was the one who gave us the presentation this morning. And he's currently director of product portfolio. He has been with Young Living for 7 years. Well, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. Oh, sorry. Let me share screen again. Sorry, not. Share screen. All right, there we go. All right, yes. Let me play. Okay. All right. So essential oil history. Essential oils have been used for millennia, for thousands of years, over 5,000 years by Egypt, in China, in the Middle East, and in India. Okay. And they have been used as medicine, as perfume. And they're used in rituals and daily life, and they're used in embalmment of mummies. And even 1,000 years ago, aromatic and medicinal plants are used are traded internationally. They have been traded from the Middle East to China, through the Silk Road, and to Rome, and to the Middle East, through all these areas. Okay. Today, international essential oils are still produced in large volumes, mostly for fragrance and flavoring purposes. There's a large network of essential oil producers and other value-added companies that are part of a global flavor and fragrance industry. For the flavor and fragrance industry, sometimes essential oils are used in their pure form, but mostly they broken down into different components, like menthol from mint, or I'm going to explain this a little bit more, okay? So what is an essential oil? And essential oils are volatile organic compounds. They are in liquid form most of the time. However, volatile organic compounds means that they are high vapor pressure at room temperature. So they can actually get into the air easily. That's why you can smell it, okay? Which relates to the number of samples, molecules in the surrounding air, a trait known as volatility. I got this from Wikipedia. VOCs are responsible for the odor of scents and perfume as well as pollutants. VOC plays an important role in communication between animals and plants as an attractant for pollinators and protection from predators or even interplant interaction. Some VOCs are dangerous to human health or cause harm to the environment. Anthropogenic VOCs are regulated by law, especially indoors where concentration are the highest. Most VOCs are not acutely toxic, but may have long-term chronic health effects. Perfumes contains a variety of plant-derived or chemically synthesized aromatic compounds, essential oils, etc., many of which belong to VOC, such as aromatic aldehydes, aromatic esters, etc. In addition, the co-solvents in perfume are usually VOCs such as ethanol. Some fruits such as lemons, orange, etc., and daily cleaning agents containing sulfine, which is also a scented VOC. Indoor air pollutants such as formaldehyde, benzene, toluene, etc., released from home decoration and furniture are all VOCs. So VOC are not necessarily bad because they're actually, a lot of them are plant derived. They come from trees and plants. So if you go to your florist and when you walk in and you can smell the rose, you're actually smelling the VOC from the rose plants, okay, from the rose flowers. They usually have a smell, so responsible for the odor of scents, okay, and perfume, as well as pollutants. So if you're going to the gas station, and you know how when you're in the gas station, you can actually smell the gas, that's also VOC. And if you buy like a mattress and you open it, it smells like plastic, it smells like those chemicals, and then you get a neurologic reaction from the formaldehyde, that's VOC. However, not all VOCs are made equal. Some of them are toxic, some of them are beneficial to humans, okay? So because in Hong Kong, there are a lot of people who hire experts, air pollutant experts to come in and check your house for VOC. A lot of the times, especially for the families, for the homes who are diffusing essential oils a lot, the machines will pick up you're very high on VOC, which is right? Because essential oils are VOC. So essential oils are VOC, they're volatile organic compounds. They are lighter than water, so that's why they float on top of the floral water after distillation. Most of them are lighter, but some of them are heavier, but all of them are not soluble in water. They're soluble in oils and in fats, okay? And therefore, if an essential oil bottle cap is not tightly locked, you can find that sometimes it will evaporate. And the reason why you can smell the oil from the bottle is because you're actually smelling the compounds, okay? You're smelling those compounds that are VOC, that are from the plants, okay? And that's why even with a cap, it can evaporate because the molecules are so small. With different other brands of essential oils, a lot of them do not evaporate through their plastic caps. Most of the time, it's because they're added, they're adulterated, and that's why they cannot go through this plastic cap. Small molecule holes through the pores of the plastic cap. And that's why with Young Living, even if you put it in a wood box or you put it in a little pouch and put it in your handbag, you know, I have people who have said that everything that comes out of my handbag smells like essential oils. In fact, when I pay with money, I've had store assistants say, how come your money smell nice? Because I always have oils in my bag. And in fact, not only do my money smell nice, my passport smell nice. So when I go through customs, when I give them my passport, they say, wow, your passport smells really good. So because I'm in the essential oil business. But because not all essential oils are made the same, when you have other brands of essential oils in your bag may not smell as nice because they are not small molecules that can go through the plastic cap. Okay, so essential oils that can evaporate through the plastic caps are actually good stuff. All right. So although essential oils are lighter than water and it floats on water, it is not a fatty oil and the texture is different. It can be immediately absorbed into the skin and it does not clog pores. It is non-comedogenic, okay? And it is not the same, our body do not respond the same way as with fatty oils. Obviously, some of the oils are more sticky, like cedar wood, especially the oils distilled from resin. If it's from cedar wood, from myrrh, sometimes it gets sticky. The essence, this essential oils are the essence and the immune system of plants. It protects and helps the plant fight off bacteria and viruses, and it carries the aroma for the plants. And it also communicates, as here, and it communicates between plants and animals. It protects the plants. That's what essential oils are. Okay, goodie? All right. And what does it do? So I got this from Dr. Coley. If you have not followed him, follow him on Facebook. Okay. He is an essential oil expert. He used to work for Young Living, and I heard that he was there at convention. He did all these by himself. This is a petri dish with, I think it's mold or some sort of bacteria or whatever. And he put a little piece of paper and he dropped tea tree on it. And this is the results. This one is with clove, how beautiful the circle is. This is with helichrysum. Interesting how helichrysum travels all over the dish. Interesting how clove concentrate here in the middle, and cinnamon is more powerful, and oregano is very powerful. Do you know which blend that we have, which product that we have that have oregano, cinnamon, and clove in it? Which product? We have a product that has oregano, cinnamon, and clove in it. That product is in a blue bottle, I think. Blue label, is it blue? I don't know. Well, it used to be blue. And it also has lemon, and it's very popular. All right, please comment in the bottom and guess what product it is. It's a product, okay? It's not like a bottle of oil, all right? So, and then I'm going to show you this video that I recorded from Brad Chatterley. He is currently the director of product portfolio. He's been working with Young Living for 7 years. He now works on essential oils with the new products, for the new products. Before that, he was 6.5 years on the sourcing team. So he would need to go to different countries and meet with farmers and suppliers. He's part of the big sourcing team. He knows a lot about sourcing. So the following video, it's him explaining the sourcing process and where we get our oils, okay? Why is it playing?
So getting the small amount of quality essential oils that are out there is hard. So the flavor and fragrance industry is relatively large. They've published numbers that say they use around 105,000 metric tons of essential oils annually. So metric ton is 1,000 kilos, 105,000 metric tons. Now, for a long time, they were pretty much the only ones working with essential oils until someone came along named Gary Young and really started this revolution in using essential oils for health and wellness. Okay, and so what Gary did was disrupt a bit what this larger industry was doing with essential oils. Now, most of what they use in the flavor and fragrance industry are actually synthetic chemicals derived from petrochemicals, derived from petroleum and oil products. And so essential oils are a small part of what they do. And we've really come in and disrupted that for them. So what we're doing in using essential oils for wellness, we use probably as a whole industry, maybe a few thousand metric tons of essential oils compared to the 100,000 metric tons the flavor and fragrance industry uses. However, that number seems really big, 105,000 metric tons. It seems like there's lots of oils out there. But the truth is the amount of quality essential oils out there is very, very small. It has been small. This is the challenge that we have, getting this amount of quality essential oils that we need for our business. It's hard work. It's not easy to do. And we are sometimes in competition with now a lot of other companies that are using essential oils, the broader flavor and fragrance industry. And this is the context that Gary found when he started trying to get high quality essential oils. This is the kind of water that he waded into. It's what we're up against today still. It's what he was up against, and it still requires a lot of work. So I want to give you an example of how this plays out, this fight for quality essential oils, or the challenge of quality essential oils. Bergamot, one of my favorite oils. It's a beautiful, beautiful oil. It's been produced for a long, long time for fragrance usage. In Italy, where bergamot's produced, their production numbers say that it's maybe 150 metric tons of bergamot essential oil produced in a good year. Sometimes it's a lot less than that. But their exports recently of essential oil were 800 metric tons. How do you export 800 metric tons of a product that you only produced 150 metric tons of? Well, there's a lot of adulteration. And how do we handle this as a company? Well, this is a picture taken by us at the facility we work with in Italy. So we go there, we work with the people who are producing it, we see what they're doing. I once had a sales guy come and visit us from a company, and he'd been a chemist for one of these what we'll call brokers. I'll talk to you about these in a minute. And he said, when I was a chemist, I had all of the individual components, main components of lime oil out on my desk in bottles, broken down into these individual components. And I would have a spec for a company for the lime oil that they wanted. And I would take these individual components and mix them to create a lime oil that met the spec for the company. That's how it was done. That's how it's still done in a lot of places and for a lot of companies. And what's kind of frightening about that is that this was still considered a natural lime oil, because all of the individual components he was mixing were derived from natural places. And so this could be sold as a natural lime oil. This is still what happens, and one of the challenges that we run into. So I say that our success.
I have cut off that because it has other brands photos in it, so I don't think I should be sharing that. It's just like he's just telling how challenging it is, because there's so many people using so many companies using essential oils as the ingredients and adding them into their products, but they do not have the requirement that we do. And most of the essential oils on the market are being used for, especially now, because of this trend that Gary has started, especially now, it's much well sought after. However, because it is so well accepted that you can adulterate essential oils, and that's why he has got like different brands and different stuff on it. It just means that it's very popular. Gary has come in and made this essential oil thing such a big popular thing. However, it is very difficult to find real essential oils. And he subsequently went on, I shall have another page to share. I apologize, this is not very well done because I just got the information 2 hours ago. Okay. Let's see. Is it playing?
So I want to talk a little bit about where real essential oils come from. So who is making real essential oils? You often, you can think of our farms that we own at Young Living. If you've ever been to the lavender farms, you see these giant fields of lavender. Most essential oil crops aren't produced in those large volumes. Most of them are farmed or wild collected in developing countries by a large number of individuals and families on a very small scale. So most farming is done by what's called smallholder farmers, and they're defined as having 2 hectares or less of land. Some exceptions to this are things like lavender, citrus crops, mint production in the US, where there are much larger farms. But that's not actually how most essential oils in the world are produced by these small families and individuals. And it's interesting to note that around 25% of Young Living's oils are wild collected. So this is a picture of when I was in Morocco in 2018, and these women had just been out in these hot, dusty foothills that you can see in the background collecting myrtle. So here's another example, Indian jasmine. This is some information from an industry publication. So there's around 16,000 acres of jasmine in production in India right now, and about 20,000 farmers involved in that. So that means each farmer has an average of a half to 1 acre. And usually this is a family affair, so you get the whole family working, the 4 to 5 people in a family. So they estimate there are around 80,000 to 100,000 people involved in just the picking activity for jasmine in India. Now, we work with a partner in India that has over 800 farmers that they work with, 800 farmers. So when you start to think of the scope that's required, even for a small volume product like jasmine, there's not a lot of jasmine produced in the world. There's a massive amount of people involved, work involved in managing this. So how do we connect with people that are making real oil? In most essential oil producing markets, for most essential oils, you have the level of the grower or the collector. Most of these people don't have the experience to or the capability to market and export to international customers. Some of them have their own distillation capabilities, others of them don't. And often these people they don't speak English, they don't have access to good lines of credit. And so there's another layer that gets built up to meet those needs. And I call this, is just Brad's terminology, in-country brokers. And what they do is they aggregate, like our partner in India, they aggregate all those small volumes from the individual growers. Sometimes these brokers have their own farms, sometimes they have their own extraction distillation capabilities, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they compete with each other for products coming from the growers. On top of that, you have another layer, what I, in Brad's terminology, call international brokers. These brokers are ones that work with in-country suppliers from all over the world. And so you can go to an international broker and they might have a portfolio of, 150 essential oils from all over the world. A lot of these guys are the ones that feed into the flavor and fragrance industry. They also buy and sell oil to each other. And so it can change hands quite a few times before it goes to the customer from this level. And from what I have seen, this is the level that most companies that are selling essential oils for wellness, just in my own experience, this is the level that they are buying from. On top of that, you have then these very large flavor and fragrance companies who are throughout this supply chain. You have contract manufacturers who are buying oils to put into their products that you go and see in the grocery stores. And I don't know if you guys know this, we work with a lot of contract manufacturers for some of our products beyond just the like our lotions and things like that. We provide all of the essential oil to those contract manufacturers. They don't go out and procure that oil themselves. It's all Young Living essential oil. When you start thinking of the scale of this for all of the products that we have, or the fact that we get essential oils from around 40 different countries, that at the grower level, many of these people don't speak English because there's not good credit there. Cash payments, upfront payments are the norm. We work with people often at this in-country broker level because they provide an important service, but we always have transparency back to the growers. That's how I have the pictures that I'm able to show you and put up in this presentation. Because even when we're working at that level, we go back to the grower level. Now, what are Young Living sources of oil? I read a while back, Aromatherapy, The Essential Beginning by Gary. He published this in 1996, and I thought it was interesting that he said, in addition to the oil we produce, Young Living purchases tens of thousands of dollars in oil volume per month. By 1997, with our current growth rate, we'll be purchasing over $1 million in oil volume yearly. So I can tell you it's a lot more than that now, much bigger. We've always purchased essential oil. From the beginning, Gary was transparent about that. So we have our corporate farms, we have our partner farms, but we also have people we work with that we're purchasing oil from. That's never been something that Gary tried to hide. But here's the thing to remember about that. It all comes from plants. It all comes from plants grown in the earth. That's what we go back to. So how do we do that? Well, Gary traveled all over the world, and we still travel all over the world. And this supply is now overseen by Corey and his team, but multiple departments throughout the company work on essential oil quality. You have Corey's team, you have the farm teams, you have our research and development teams, the trade compliance teams. It is a concerted effort across multiple disciplines because that's the amount of work that it takes to do this right. And Young Living has unique resources and expertise, and this is what Seed to Seal is. It is our unique resources and expertise that we employ to get you the highest quality essential oils available. We work very hard to establish these transparent supply chains back to the grower level. We utilize our agriculture and distillation expertise that we have developed at our own farms and distilleries. And we've invested heavily in testing and research capabilities in state-of-the-art equipment. And all of this came from Gary, because that large flavor and fragrance industry that I spoke about before, what's important to them is having a standardized product and having a product that is low cost. And so when Gary started to try to get quality essential oils, that's what he was running into over and over again. He said, I don't really care about the lowest cost. I don't really care about standardization. What I care about is a natural quality product. And that actually disrupted their way of doing business. And some of those companies don't like us because we've disrupted their way of doing business. Gary had to figure out how to get quality natural oils from that context. And this is how he did it. And this is how we still do it.
We're on here. Okay. All right, hold on. Okay, sorry. So, all right, that was great, right? That was such good information. I felt like I don't know how to retell that because he's the expert. So I felt like I was just gonna screen cap that and video and share that so that he can tell you from him. You can get it from him directly. All right. I don't want to misinterpret anything. And so this is another slide from his presentation. There are very few existing standards for essential oils. There's just most of them are just one, just ISO, International Organization for Standardization. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit, and I'll show you a little bit. And the name says it all. ISO standards are international, agreed by experts. But what kind of experts, and what are the uses for these essential oils? Most of them are and these experts are for the flavor and fragrance industry. So what do you do when there's no satisfactory existing standard? You must create your own. What else are you supposed to do? Rather than knocking this, we should respect the immense effort Gary expended in his research and learning. The standards Gary created are holistic. Rather than looking simply at the constituents of the oil, he looked at the whole agricultural and production process. He knew if you grew a plant well but distilled it poorly, you would have an inferior product. If you store high quality oil poorly, it would degrade. So he knew quality had to touch on the whole production process. I love this, and this is basically in a nutshell, what Seed to Seal actually means. And so why do we do what we do? Sometimes we focus a bit too much on the what and not enough of the why. Why do we do what we do? Gary tried to use essential oils back in the 80s, as I've mentioned. They didn't work for him. He wasn't impressed. Then he learned that he had been using poor quality oils. When he went to Geneva and then brought back his 13 oils back, he was very impressed with the results. And that's how he learned that you need high quality oils. And this is the why. And it is what still motivates us, because we need quality oils. And I love this about Brad. He's very passionate about what he does. If you want to know more about him, go to YL Drop. I'm going to share this recently, like this was uploaded, I think, earlier this month. Brad Chatterley has been interviewed by Jacob. I love the information he shared there. definitely listen to it. I think it's like a 25-minute thing. You won't regret it. So I'm going to post the link to the podcast in after I'm done here. If Gretchen's online, Gretchen, you can help me post it in the group already, and maybe post it in the comments below, but probably post it in the group is faster. Thanks, Gretchen. And so that was the sourcing, right? Seed to seal, the sourcing is the seed and the harvest. And in fact, it's even the post-harvest and the distillation. I always say that, I don't know if you've heard this, I don't know if I've shown you this. This is actually taken out from my Seed to Seal presentation. It's actually, it's corporate approved because I did this presentation for the Philippines first anniversary, and they had to approve my presentation. So seed is the purity of the water that we're using, the temperature of the seed growing, the weather. So these are all controlled by Young Living. If not by Young Living, when we go to the sourcing, as mentioned by Brad earlier, they actually, Brad in the interview from YL Drop, he said that our company actually sent teams into the farms every 2 weeks to check and make sure that they're following what we want them to. Thank you, Gretchen. She just posted in the comments. And to make sure that they're doing what we're requiring, and they're wild crafting it. And sometimes they're wild sourced. 25% of our oils are wildly crafted by hand. And so you have to make sure that if we do plant it and grow it ourselves, we make sure that the best seeds are chosen, the soil and the nutrients, the microbes, the soil pH and the minerals. Different plants require different kind of soil. The way that we do the weeding, for example, in Mona and St. Mary's, we use lambs and sheeps and lambs and llamas, right? Very cool thing we do. And then the harvesting affects it, the seed to seal whole process, the harvesting, how you harvest. For example, for lavender, we have to harvest it like, I think, 5 inches away from the ground to keep the integrity of the roots, make sure that they can regrow. For true lavender, the species that is called Lavandula augustifolia, it's actually, you have to harvest, they can only be harvested and distilled after they're 4 years old. Whereas a lot of companies don't, they only harvest it when they're 2, which doesn't give as well as high quality in oil. So the timing, say for example, like Palo Santo has been dead. I can talk about C2C another time, but this is like an hour presentation. So the whole process will affect the quality of the oils, okay? And then so post-distillation, we have to test it. So testing, I know in the marketplace, a lot of commercial people always ask, oh, does Young Living provide and share the GCMS? I'm going to be talking about GCMS in a moment. I just want to, before that, I want to add this into the presentation. I'm just going to quickly add a page, and then I'm just going to quickly do this. So this is the graphic that I have made quite a few years ago. So on the marketplace, more than half of the essential oils that are being sold are synthetic, altered, or adulterated. They're laboratory synthetic, contains chemicals, agents, solvents, and artificial scents. In fact, the FDA has a data sheet that shows that it says that with essential oils that are made, distilled without solvent, it can be considered as safe for consumption, for oral consumption. Let me see. Let me try to get that into. Let me screen cap that. Sometimes this is what I do. I will screenshot this and I will send it, post it in. I can just quickly do this while you're all here. Right. Okay. Screen cap. Screen cap that. You can all see this very soon. Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. All right. So this is a screenshot of the US Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, CFR Code of Federation Regulation Title 21. It's been updated in March 29th, 2022. So it's pretty updated. Food and Drugs, Chapter 1, Food and Drugs Administration, Department for essential oil substance generally regarded as safe. It means that essential oils, oleoresin, solvent-free, and natural extractive, including distillates, are generally regarded as safe for the intended use within the meaning of section are as follows. So these are actually the essential oils that you can use for human consumption. Okay, food for human consumption. So essential oils, if it is all solvent-free, it can be used for human consumption, means orally taken. Okay, so it's not us who say that essential oils can be orally ingested, it is the FDA. That's why we have the fatality line, which is registered as a supplement in the US and as food additives in the rest of the countries that we have open markets, say in Hong Kong, in Europe, in Australia, Canada, they're all used for as food additives. Okay, it depends on how the country label requirements. So, and a lot of times when people come and ask me if that brand of essential oils is good, the first question that I ask them is, can you eat it? Like, can you orally ingest it? Can you put it in your food? If they do not say that you can put it in your food, and if they do not label it as such, I would not use it, honestly. Because supposedly you can only put things that you, because our skin is our largest organ, as I said last time in skincare class, if whatever we put on our skin, we should be able to orally ingest it too. That is why quality is so important. And let's go back here. Most of them are synthetic, as Brad Traley just now said. A lot of the essential oil company, actually the sales in one of the companies, they have constituents in bottles, and then he just mix them up and give people that smell. They're all natural, right? It's all natural. Could even be organic, okay? So it could be these, right? Natural and organic essential oils. And then there's food grade essential oils. And the ones in France, the ones that you can easily buy in the French part of in French, in the, what do you call it, a pharmacy, you can easily purchase essential oils that are for oral consumption. Oh, I forgot about that. Why did I not put it here? Or I already shown you, right? In France. Yes, I've already shown all of you. That's why I didn't want to repeat that. It's mentioned in the French presentation, which is the one that I talked about lavender when he was in France. Okay, so these are food grade, may be consumed orally, but they do not have all the comprehensive and appropriate constituents to call them as therapeutic grades. And then there is us, right? The highest quality. Some may be consumed orally. Most of them can be consumed orally. It contains a comprehensive and appropriate ratios of essential oil constituents. Okay, I made this back in 2016. This is very important information to get out there. This is actually the proportion of what you can find in the market. Even, in fact, this is very small amount, mostly just Young Living. There's maybe one or two, which I have actually tried all the brands that I could find that can be orally consumed, because even in France, there are only about 2 to 3 brands you can do that. And I still find from my own experience that Young Living has the best quality and is the most effective. Okay, so I don't want to use anything else, just for my personal experience. So let's go to seed to seal. Is I talk about this, the distillation, and then the testing, right? The filter and the testing. And the first step of the testing usually in Young Living is GCMS. And in most companies, it's just GCMS. In Young Living, it's another 13 to 15 tests. In other companies, they only use the GCMS. So let's explain what a GCMS is. So GCMS is is connected to a gas cylinder. You put the samples in. Number 2 is the sampler. You put the sample in, and it spray some gas in it, and then there's a column. It's a column oven, it's heated up. Most companies use a 30-meter column. Young Living use a 60-meter column. I'll explain what the column is for in a moment. And then it is the constituents in the essential oils is being spread out, okay? And then it's being transferred in the mass spectrometer as a detector, and to detect what time the constituents come out. And then it will show you a chromatogram. And these computer data will have to be matched according to the library that is being installed in the GC. Okay, so 30 columns versus 60-meter column. It's sort of like trying to spread out the things you have in your suitcase. Okay, say for example, you packed a suitcase and you need to spread the things out. If you spread it out on a dining table, some of the things need to be overlapping because you don't have enough space. If you spread it out on the floor in your house, that is maybe like 1,000 square feet, you'll be able to spread out most of it, right? So the size of the column is the ability of the machine, of the instrument, being able to spread out all the constituents that are in that essential oil. And in each essential oil, usually in our essential oils, usually about 200 to 300 compounds, constituents. And the reason why they have to spread the constituents is so that they can see if it is at the right proportion. In the Seed to Seal book and also in the Ecuador class, I have mentioned how we test it and how Gary read these chromatograms, okay? Does it take an expert? It does take an expert, but it also takes a proper instruments. And because of how these instruments are calibrated, and the library that they are checking it against, in fact, you can actually calibrate the machine, this instrument, according to what you want. So you can insert a database that has a graph, a proportion and a ratio of what you like, and then you can call it a proper essential oil, okay? So let me read this from Anamaya Power. She actually is, she used to work with Gary. She's a member, she's a Royal Crown Diamond. She worked with Gary 30 years ago because she's a biochemist. She's Swiss, she's German Swiss. She lives in US. She's a biochemist. She knows how to read a GC, and she has learned it 40 years ago in UBC, University of British Columbia in Canada. She was there for an internship. She learned oils extracts are programmed into the reader, and it is like a computer program spitting out answers accordingly. Pure oils spitting out different info than adulterated oils. So anybody bring up a GC reading, they can also know how to manipulate the information because they think you don't know what you're looking for, meaning that the database that is being inserted into the computer, into the GC, will determine your results. So that's why Gary always said, if we send our oil to get tested in a GC, they don't know how to test it because they do not have our library, okay? All right, so what does a GC, what does a GCM test and how can it test it? Why do most essential oil companies in the market use only a GC? All right, this is according to the Tisserand Institute. This is sort of like the authoritative British essential oil company, okay, the Tisserand Institute. So step one, GCMS analysis. What can a GCMS do? It can identify most volatile compounds, most of them, not all, because a lot of them are unknown. Indicate percentage with reasonable accuracy. Help confirm botanical source. Help identify adulterants or contaminants. It may be able to. Help detect rectification and oxidation. Help to compare similar essential oils, distinguish between a distilled EO or other extracts. But the GC cannot detect pesticide, cannot detect non-volatile compounds, including heavy metals. It cannot detect whether a single compound is natural or synthetic. So GCMS is an excellent tool to identify volatile molecules and has become the cornerstone of essential oil analysis. And this is what they say, okay? Robert Tisserone was in the essential oil business for over 30 years. He's one of the first people to take this knowledge from France and bring it to the UK. However, they focus mostly on massage, and they focus on 3% dilution. 3% dilution meaning that if you have 100 drops of base oil, you add 3 drops of essential oil in it and use it for massage, okay? However, it does have limitation to address specific issues such as oxidation level, adulteration with natural identical compounds, or the presence of heavy metals. It needs to be complemented with other types of analysis, okay? Depending on the library, it can identify most of the compounds. It may be able to identify adulterants. It's only maybe. It can identify compound proportions in the percentage. So I'll show you what a GC looks like. So I got this page from 2013 Young Living Convention. It's called it's the Science of Essential Oils, the Chemistry of Essential Oils. It was presented by Dr. Carlson, Dr. Coolwoolley, and Dr. Casabianca. And Dr. Casabianca, we talked about him in the French class, and when we talked about lavender. He works for the French government in their French lab. And Richard Carson, you see him in a wire drop. Sometimes he's invited. And Dr. Coolwoolley, as I've mentioned, he has a page on essential oils. So this is the GC of a true lavender. And based on the AFNOR normalization, in general, 50 to 70% of essential oil composition is described. Only 50 to 70%. What are the other peaks? Why is an EO never known as 100%? So this is the ISO AFNOR ISO standard requirement in 2004. Dr. Casabianca helped set that ISO standard. He was Gary's teacher on how to do essential oil testing. He was also the one who taught Gary how to use the IRMS. Why we need to use an IRMS, I'll talk about that a little bit later. So this, as you can see, this is the requirement. So if the true lavender oil, if say, for example, the linalool content falls between 25 to 38%, if the essential oil fall between this, it passes, okay? True lavender oil chromogram, it has 120 peaks, only 13 in norm, okay? So the next one, let's look at this. This is not a Young Living chromatograph is not a Young Living lavender. I have taken this out of the internet. This is a lemongrass oil, and this was done by Dr. Robert Papas. His company is called Essential Oil University. It's established in 1999. Okay. And it says this report is valid 1 year from the analyzed date. This is from lemongrass. Okay. It doesn't say what is the length of the copper coil. It doesn't say whether there are natural molecules added. It doesn't say if the molecule ratios are correct. It only says here there are these compounds, in total 100. And here it says unidentified. It has 46% of unidentified. Oh, at the time, 46. At time 46, the unidentified molecules came. Okay. Is it natural? We don't know. And are there heavy metals? We don't know. But this is actually, this is approved. Okay to go, right? It says here, this analysis of lemongrass batch sample meets the expected chemical profile for authentic essential oil of Simbopogon, lemongrass, okay? It says it matches the chemical profiles for authentic essential oil of lemongrass. What is the definition? And they don't even know if there are any natural molecules. This is exactly what Brad was talking about, is that you can have all these natural compounds and being added together to make a natural oil, to meet this GCMS, to make sure that it falls into the requirements of the percentage. It's very, very easy to make your own natural essential oil. Okay, so what does the GCMS do? So as I said, this is the column, and then it will get broken up, and then it will have a detector. So it identifies 200 to 300 molecules in every single oil. Each compound, each constituents have its own role in the combination. In fact, I think I talked about the distillation of the cypress, right? If you're distilling cypress for, I think our cypress, if I remember correctly, is distilled 22 hours and has over 200 constituents. And if we distill it for 24 hours, all the constituents go back into the plant. If we distill it for 20 hours, it only has like 18, I think, if I remember correctly. But most of the cypress essential oils are distilled for 8 hours in the market because it's cheaper. It lowers the cost. So what kind of molecules are being added to make sure that it meets that requirement? So an aromatherapist would explain to you which each type of constituent does. For example, phenol, it is antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. For example, as it is mentioned, let me see here. It is mentioned here, the aroma ester at the aldehyde, the sulfene, what does it do, right? And here, each of them, the linalool, the linalool acetate, each compound, what is it? What's the constituents? When an aromatherapist tell you that, oh, the linalool will do this, the acetolinalool will do this. But when a different compound are added together in a blend and in a single essential oils, it has a synergistic effect. So we cannot just look at that specific constituents and what it does and know, but we don't know the synergistic effect, okay? Because your body don't react to one compound, your body is reacting to the synergistic combination, right? And as I said, the 30-meter coil and the 60-meter coil, this is most of the difference. Most of the essential oil testing, most of the GC that test essential oils have only a 30-meter coil. It already does not meet our standard. I like to use an analogy, like the master chef, right? The cooking. The different specific combination of seasoning and herbs and spices and the time that they cook the food for, whether they cover it or they don't cover it, would set a master chef apart from an apprentice or some home cook chef at home, right? And when people talk about how a compound is toxic to the liver, it's like saying don't eat the salad because there's salt in the dressing, right? What kind of salt? Is it like table salt, Himalayan salt, sea salt? Of course, the table salt is going to hurt your body, but the Himalayan salt and sea salt are actually good for your body because it has its minerals, right? And of course, if you eat like a whole jar of, if you down a whole jar of salt, you're gonna die, right? It's gonna fry your kidney, especially because it's synthetic salt. And that's when people talk about, oh, it's dangerous. You can't put essential oils directly on your skin. It's gonna fry your liver. You can't take it orally. It's gonna fry your liver because they're not talking about the master chef. So, and that's the thing that it really, really like heats up my, it makes me really angry. It's because their knowledge is based on ignorance. And there's so much ignorance and myths out there regarding essential oils that we need to get this information out there, right? And I also like to explain GCMS and the combination of the constituents of essential oil and why is it so important. Okay, so I like to use a combination log. So there are 10 numbers. Well, no, there are actually 10, 12. The 12 digits here, right? Imagine you're trying to open this door with this combination lock. You do not have the combination. You do not have the combination. You don't know what it is. You just know that you need to open the lock, right? And you don't know how many numbers there are. You don't know what is the sequence. And I give you this 12 numbers and you have to come up with 12 buttons and you have to come up with the combination to unlock the door, right? So what I mean by combination is the percentage, right? And the percentage by it occurring naturally, not added together, right? So the right combination is like unlocking. For example, it's like a digital lock at home. If you press one of the numbers wrongly, the lock will not open. And each essential oil has 200 to 300 numbers on the face. The numbers should be in range of a percentage, and it can be unlocked. And in order for this part to unlock, the essential oil must be so pure that it can be orally ingested, and that's why you can put it in your skin. So every usage of the essential oil is like trying to unlock the lock in our body. And when you put that essential oil in, it already knows what the combination is because it's made from nature. And it has 200 to 300 numbers instead of 12. What are the chances of you getting that nature code if you're trying to put it together, right? 0, I say. But when nature comes in, it has that automatic evolution of knowing how to unlock that lock in our body. All right, okay, and the correct database. So when a GCMS when the instrument is being purchased, the manufacturer actually needs to know what the instrument is going to test, because they need to program it in the database of the substances and molecules into the database of the instrument, so that when you have tested it, it will come out with the results. So if you are using a GC to test food, to test essential oils, it may not come up with the result that you're looking for. And if you're using a GC to test essential oils, because the molecule combination are different, they may not be comprehensive enough. And as NMIR stated that, even if you know that this instrument is going for testing essential oils, you can manipulate the database in order for you to get the result that you want. Okay? And what about natural compounds? As Brad said, they can actually add in natural compounds and natural constituents to meet that proportion that is standardized by ISO. But once you've added that natural essential oil constituents in it, it no longer has that natural proportion. You get me? Do you understand what I mean? So there's so much to it. And as I said, the GC can test the compounds, the constituents, but it cannot tell whether it's synthetic or natural. That's when you need an IRMS. So an IRMS can actually tell whether it's synthetic or natural. How does it tell? Because when a natural constituent is like the right hand, a synthetic constituent looks like the right hand, but it's actually the left hand. It's a mirror image of the natural compounds. But remember I said about what I said about the lock? And the GCMS can only tell that it's a hand and how big the hand is, but it cannot tell whether it's left or right. And when our body is actually like a lock, right? It's actually like a glove. You cannot fit a right hand glove into a left hand or vice versa. That's why, and our body is like the glove. Our body is waiting like a glove, waiting for that natural compound to come in. But our body only has a natural glove. So when you have a left hand that comes in and try to fit into the right hand, it doesn't fit, so it cannot unlock the lock. That is why we must have natural constituents and natural combination of these constituents and not man-made ones. Okay? Yes, it's fascinating information. All right, let's show you some other GCMS tests. Okay, this is a GCMS of methyl salicylate, which is wintergreen essential oil. This is the standard GC of Standard Sigma Aldrich. It's a big company. It sells, it's one of those that Brad talks about, flavorings and fragrances. It's a core provider of, let me try to go back to that part. Oh, I can't go back to that part, but it's okay. Sigma Aldrich is one of the largest flavoring and fragrance company in the world. And this is from Sigma Aldrich, okay, of wintergreen. And this is company D of wintergreen. And when you test it, this is what the wintergreen looks like, okay? Most of the wintergreen essential oils is like this. Remember how we have been out of stock of raindrop and wintergreen and all of the wintergreen products that we have, like Ortho Ease, Ortho Sports, wintergreen, Panaway, and raindrop, right? We have been out of wintergreen for a long time. It is because most of them are like this. We can't use something like this. And when you compare company D with Sigma Aldrich with the synthetic one, this is what it is. And wintergreen methyl salicylate have been known to fry liver because of how high this compound is. However, if you have a natural, real natural wintergreen, this is what the GC looks like. It does have a gigantic methyl salicylate. However, it also have other peaks, which will neutralize the effect, the toxic effect of this methyl salicylate. That's how nature works. So this is a GC of Young Living Natural Wintergreen Essential Oil compared to something that looks like this. Okay, so as I said, all this information was, I got it from Dr. Casabianca. Dr. Casabianca was actually the one who made these presentations. Dr. Carson and Dr. Cole Woolley were there to help translate and explain. Okay, so let me show you what you can buy on the market and what other company can buy in the market. So this I got from the Sigma Aldrich website. As I said, they are a flavoring. They are one of the biggest flavoring and fragrance company. It's under the pharmaceutical company Merck. It's under one of the largest pharmaceutical company Merck. It's a branch. Okay, so Merck also sells peppermint oil, and it's like this. Let me see. Let me try to like maximize this. Ooh. All right, let's share this. Let me see. Peppermint oil is natural. It says here conforms to miscellaneous assay, specific gravity, alcohol contents, blah, blah, blah. Zero, less than 1 particle per metric, I think is. Okay, expiration date 5 years. Okay, safety data sheets. Okay, they sell this. And then you can easily buy this. All right. And then you can also get this. You can easily Google natural essential oils, buy in bulk. Peppermint oil, 99.9% methyl paprika. And then, or you can buy different proportion of menthol. If you want 50%, you can get this. If you want liquid, you can get this. If you want crystals, you can get this. You see, if you want 90%, you can get this. All right. Fascinating, right? 72% of menthol, 52% menthol, easily, very easily purchasable. And then I will show you. Oh, and then, okay, actually, I'm going to show you this first. Bulk, apothecary, organic essential oils. I actually want to show you this because I can easily make a brand called Apothecary of Joanne, and I can easily sell organic essential oils, and I can sell organic lavender, and I can sell organic peppermint, and these would be where I would source my oils. These would be the brokers. And I can ask for a GC, and I can ask for a report, and then I can post it on my website. And I can say how it conforms to the ISO standard, right? But does it mean that it's really what we want? Okay, I got this out of the Seed to Seal book. Dear sir, I'm a French exporter who exports product from Provence, south of France to North America. Select very typical products which quality is unquestionable. Would you like to know if you could be interested in Provençal products like lavender essential oils made in France? This is actually a copy of the letter that Gary received many, many years ago. So, and they say that it's 50% lavender, 50% lavender, it's 100% pure. And back then it's $60, $65 per liter. Actually, when I started with Young Living, I received an email selling me peppermint oil. And it was dirt cheap, I tell you. It was dirt cheap. And they even sent me photos, and they're all crystals. They're all like, here it says menthol, natural crude, deterpenated, menthol paprika oil, menthol bold crystals. You see? All right. All right, let me go back to this lavender. Let me show you. I think it may be a little bit blurry, but I'm going to read this to you. So 2 ounces of organic essential oils lavender in bulk, it will cost me $11.61. If it's from Bulgaria, remember last time I talked about lavender in the French lesson? Bulgarian, it's mostly cloned, right? And then if it's bulk from Bulgaria, 2 ounce, it's about 60 ml, which is 4 of our 15 ml bottles. So at cost, I can sell organic lavender oil. Divide this by 4, it'd be $3. $3, that's the cost. That's the cost of an organic lavender essential oils that you can get in the market. And they're selling it at a different price for you, okay? And if I get it from Bulgaria, if I want one from Bulgaria, if I divide this by, it's $13 for 60 ml. So if I divide that by 4, it's like $3 costs, $3.30. If I buy more, it's cheaper. Okay, French lavender is $27.06 for 2 ounce. So the cost is $6.30, about $6.50, okay, per 15 ml. This is from France. From population lavender, which means that it's grown from seed, is $37.51 per 60 ml. So the cost is, divide this by 4, is about nearly $10, okay? Nearly $10 costs. It's 3 times the price of a regular organic lavender oil, okay? It's pure and natural. Oh, this one here, I got this from Alibaba. I know, I think everybody knows what Alibaba is, right? It's $56 per kilo. It's per kilo, okay? Crazy, and it's natural and all pure. An organic private label, I can ask them to label it for me, okay, per drum. 1 kilo drum is $56. This is how dirt cheap this thing is. And that's why, but you don't know the quality. You can't put it directly on your skin. You have to dilute it 3% because it's not pure, okay? You don't know where it came from. All right, organic lavender, I actually got this from the internet. Okay, here, from Merck, just now, I showed you, this is the lavender flower essential oil. This is 30-meter column, yes. However, here says IL60 completely, okay, IL60 GC column, but it says 30 meters. So they use a 30-meter, and the result comes out like this, okay? The GC analysis of lavender flower, and this plant therapy is another company, Lavender Organic, Lavandula oxalifolia, origin Bulgaria. Sounds familiar, guys? Okay. It's comments from Robert Tisserand. He's the one who tested this. I think this is an excellent organic lavender oil conformed to the ISO standard for Bulgarian lavender, except that terpene 4 oil is very slightly high. This does not concern me. So this actually meets this standard. But are you going to orally ingest this? Do you know where it came from? Are you sure these terpene 4 oil isn't added to it? Are you sure this lavandula acetate isn't added to it? How do you know? I don't. And I don't think any of us do, right? I'm not going to buy any other essential oils and put it on my skin. I don't feel safe, right? Okay. So other than sourcing and testing, that was the first step. All our products and all our oils actually go through all these tests. Density, it tests its density, make sure that it is at the right density. The viscosity, make sure that it is at the right viscosity. Refraction, make sure that it's refracting light correctly. Olfactometer, the smell, make sure that it smells right. Polarimetry, make sure that it's correct. Okay. However, the most important one is this IRMS. This instrument actually tests. This instrument costs over $1 million per instrument, and we have two in our own D. Gary Young Research Institute. Young Living is the only privately owned company that has this instrument in-house. The other in North America that has it are either government labs or university research labs. Okay. And that is why it is amazing. And what IRMS does is, I always like to use this analogy. It's, say, for example, if you have a swimming pool, and children sometimes they would pee in the swimming pool, right? They pee in the swimming pool, and they pee in the swimming pool, and then if you use a GCMS and test the water, you will only know that somebody peed in the swimming pool. But if you use an IRMS, you would know that the person who pees, how old they are, what they just had for lunch, what they had for breakfast, and or how old they are, and you know their ethnicity. And this is how amazing this RMS machine is. In fact, this is the instrument. We also have a third-party lab that uses this instrument, and we used to use them, and the FBI uses the same lab, and they are the lab that actually found the Boston bomb. By testing the bomb residue, they can narrow down which part of Boston this person lives in, and they arrested him through using this IRMS. This is how powerful this instrument is, and nobody else has it in-house. And this instrument itself takes 13 years of training to learn how to use it properly, okay? And this is what we have in our lab. All right, I'm gonna also, other than the testing, when it comes to making blends, and I love Young Living blends, I use most of them are blends, the ones that I use. I'm gonna be showing you what kind of blends I have at home in a moment. And I recorded Jacob sharing when he was interning in the lab and what he has learned in how to make blends. I try not to make blends on my own. I use it, even if I do blend it, it's only used for like perfume and smell good factor, okay? I do my own chakra opening blends. It seems to work really well, but I try to stick with Young Living and Gary's blend. I love their blends. The single oils that I use, I will show you what single oils I use. I don't use a lot of it. Okay, I mostly use Young Living blends. So this is a little recording. I have the Chinese subtitles. It's a recording. I screen recorded it and posted it here because it's not the whole thing. Okay.
The call center. I then started working in our research and development lab. You know, R&D with Varun and Richard Carlson
with the blends, right?
and Rex Kidman. Yeah. And the first person that I started working with was Kyle Lorenzo, who's one of our scientists here. And he started teaching me about all the different instruments that we have. They're called instruments, not machines.
Instruments.
And they, you know, we have different ones for different tests. We have ones that test for certain molecules, ones that test for if there's any adulteration or additives into it. We have one that uses light that refracts off different molecules and different structures and stuff. We have all kinds of different machines to do testing to make sure that when we receive oil, whether it's from our farms, partnered farms, or from other farms that want us to use our oils, that they are up to our quality. And if they're not, then we don't use them.
Yeah.
100%
the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah. So after that and learning how to operate a few of the machines, then because I knew how to do the testing, and then we started to get into the science of how to make a blend. And with blends and with all the products that we have, every single one of our products is made for a purpose, right?
Yeah.
Purpose over profit. Dad always said that everything is made for a purpose and not for profit.
Yeah, he made
So
a
when it
lot of
comes-
products for mom too.
Yeah. For all of us, you know,
Yeah.
a lot of the products that we have now are made because of you, because of me, because of dad, and because of mom. They're mostly made because of our family, which I think is really cool. And anywho, so when you go to make a blend, you have to find a purpose as to why you're making that blend, right? Otherwise, it's just, you know, a blend.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reasoning, there's no purpose, there's no soul behind it. And so when I was working on just, you know, I was working on how to reformulate and remake blends that have already been made, right? Because you have to be very, very precise, right? You have to make sure that you're adding the oils in the correct form and order. Reason being is because the oils do what's called the dance. Dad would call it the dance.
The dance.
But what they do is they do what's called this chaotic dance inside the bottle. And you have all the different molecules and structures bouncing around on the inside of the glass. And it takes anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours for those molecules to mesh together and to sit together. So within that time frame, the smell of the blend changes drastically. So from the first time you smell it to when it's actually finished is a completely different scent and smell.
Never knew that.
If you mix in the oils, so let's take Valor for example. If
Okay.
you mix the oils that make Valor backwards and then compare it to the blend that was made in the correct order, they're not the same. They're completely different because the dance is different too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would never have known.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really is. And I thought that was really, really cool. And so when you're doing your measurements, you have to be really, really precise with the, we call it the pipette, right?
The what?
Pipette. So it's like a dropper, right? But
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very, very precise dropper. So you can have it make a drop that is 0.000025 milligrams. You honestly can't even really see the drop, but it's
there.
that precise. And then the oils have what are called gravitational directionary pull, right? So GPD. And just like, you know, there's gravity and it pulls to a certain amount, the oils have the exact same thing. So you have to make sure that like there's a lot that goes into making a blend that not a lot of people know about.
I mean, I'm just learning all of this now.
There's a lot to it. And then, you know, just making a blend is one thing, and then trying to get it approved and then making a label for it. And then, dude, it's a long process. So
the way that you're like telling me all of this, it seems like a lot of people don't really take into consideration the hard work that our scientists
Yeah.
put into these oils.
And, you know, a lot of people, you know, when they first join Young Living, they're like, oh, wow, these oils are really expensive. Like, well, I could just go to Walmart and buy those. Yeah, you could, but you're not getting the same quality, right?
Big difference.
So when we have new members come on, we take them down to the farm to show them everything, you know, that takes part in making a oil, right?
just a single
And
bottle.
then they're like, oh, well, yeah, the price now makes a whole lot of sense. It's a lot that goes into it. So one thing that I also learned while I was in research and development is the amount of effort and time and paperwork that it takes to create a product. And so when you're done creating that blend, you have to file all different kinds of paperwork, right?
Okay.
You have to file the paperwork of the measurements, the paperwork of the time that you did it at, in the location, in the temperature, in the environment, in the bottle that you did, the equipment that you used to make that blend, right?
Jeez.
So just to cut to the point, it takes anywhere from 2 to 4 years to make one product. Just, yeah,
2 to 4 years.
2 to 4 years, usually. Sometimes we can do it within a year, right?
Oh, okay.
But
That's a long
there's
time.
a lot of work, right?
Yeah, that's
So
the way it works.
sorry, going off like tangent and
No,
stuff.
no,
but
it was
I
great.
want to share that.
We need to know these things.
Yeah.
We need to know. I didn't know anything about
Okay. All right. So yes, it is amazing. I love the way that Jacob explaining this, and it is so not known that this is how our oils are blended. I know that white Angelica is actually, you have to keep it overnight. You have to, like, when Gary was trying to blend, am I showing correctly? And when Gary was trying to blend white Angelica, he couldn't get the result that he was looking for. So he worked until like really late at night. And then he's like, oh, okay, whatever. He's just going to go to bed and go rest. The next morning, he came back and he looked at the microscope and the oil responded differently. So that's why you have to sit it overnight. And then then added the rest of the oils, the singles, into the blend, and he got the result he wanted. So blending oils isn't just like adding A, B, C, D, E together, because if you add A, B, C, D, E together, you actually don't get A, B, C, D, E, you get X, Y, Z, right? So that's one of the things that I'm really passionate about, blending oils and all of that. So let's go back to essential oils. And other than just using the oils for the physical, and if you blend it, okay, so if you use fake essential oils, it vibrates at the frequency of lies, right? It vibrates with the frequency of lies, it vibrates with the frequency of fear, and it just does not do well. And we know that there's frequency in essential oils. And Nikola Tesla said that if you eliminate certain outside frequencies that interfere with our bodies, we could have a greater disease resistance. So I can't remember where I got this from. I've got so many books. And therapeutic essential oils biofrequency is this actually shown in the EODR. I don't have the new version of the EODR, but you can easily find this, the frequency of our essential oils. And I would also like to show you all this. David Hawkins, he did a dissertation on logarithmic scale, the map of consciousness. I love this chart. And so we're in the three-dimensional world, right? He said that most people, over 50% of the people, vibrates below the frequency of 200. So neutrality, courage, pride, anger, desire. For anger, that vibrates at 150. Desire vibrates 125. Fear vibrates 100. And lies are based on fear. And it vibrates as 100. It's very, very low. And as you move up to willingness and acceptance and inner lights, your vibration will vibrate higher. So rational emotional self is 200 to 399. Higher self is 400. So if you're setting in a new humanity consciousness, you vibrate at a higher frequency. So we do actually have an oil that's called acceptance, and we have one that is called forgiveness. And it will, if you apply it, it will help you vibrate at the frequency of 350, which is way higher than the average of 200. However, we do need to slowly raise our frequency. So that's why we always talk about doing affirmations, right? Having courage, valor. That's why we all have. That's why Gary keep putting valor in all of our sets, because that's the basis of our vibration. I mean, he is amazing. The things that he has done for Young Living, you know, that's why when we started with Young Living, there's valor in every starter kit until we ran out of valor. Until we ran out of valor. And then we had to go find a farm, which we've talked about, because valor vibrates at the frequency of courage. This is the basis to bring everybody up, right? Affirmation. That's why you need to put in affirmation. And then neutrality, trust, faith, hope, 250. Willingness, optimism, hope, hopefulness, 310. Acceptance and forgiveness and surrender, 350. Understanding, 400. Love, joy. We have a bottle. We sell it in a bottle. 540, right? Peace and calming, enlightenment. This is where our oil vibrate at. Right? Look, 147, 320. They actually had an instrument that measured it. That's why Gary wrote it out. So, you see, human frequency chart, under 40 megahertz, vulnerable to under 60 megahertz, vulnerable to diseases, health. So this actually, this is an algorithmic scale that spans from 0 to 1,000. Okay, so this is not megahertz. This was just a scale, a spectrum. Okay, from 0 to 1,000. Okay, so these are actually the megahertz. Look, forgiveness, it has very high frequency, right? This actually was taken out from the essential oil desk reference. 62 is stronger immune system. If you focus on positivity, it adds another 10 megahertz. If you meditate, it adds another 15. If you give and receive prayer, it adds another 15, right? High frequency, essential oils, nutritious food, positive mantras, and affirmation. If you drink coffee, it decreases your frequency by 14 degrees, by 14 megahertz. It minus, right? That's why we keep telling people, don't drink coffee. If you smoke a cigarette, it decreases by 23 megahertz. If you eat acidic substance, if you lack of sleep and being in unhealthy relationship, it decreases your frequencies. That's why we need to put oils and oils. We need to oil up to bring our frequency up so that the bad guys can't get at us, right? And here, shame and guilt. When people slander you, they're trying to make you feel guilty. They're trying to shame you. Don't get involved with it. Lift yourself up, ignore them. This is super important. I love this chart. So I'm going to be sharing the essential oils that I love. And before that I do that, I have to set a disclaimer again. I'm not a medical doctor. The information provided below are for education purposes only and do not substitute for professional medical advice. Please consult a medical professional or healthcare provider if they're seeking medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. I'm only sharing my own experience and research, okay? All right, so my favorite one-size-fits-all set is the raindrop set. I think everybody should have one at home. It works for everything. I love it. It boosts my immune system. It brings me to my wellness. It optimizes my wellness. I live above the wellness line. And when I use oils, it brings me even to a higher state. So for example, I'm here. I'm in paradise all the time. I'm actually just got tested. I'm like 500. I have a spiritual teacher who saw me. But at least stay in this fourth dimension, rational, linear, emotional self, neutrality. At least don't be a victim. Don't self-empowerment. Stay there. Stay with courage and self-empowerment. Don't be a victim. Don't be an abuser. Don't let people guilt or shame you. All right. Put oils on when you feel that. This is something that I love. I use it all the time, especially now in this time that we have no idea what's the world has. And then another one, lavender, peppermint. I use it all the time. I have it at home. I have it in my bag. These are most likely the two most used single oils that I have, and lemon. These three, lemon, lavender, and peppermint, are the most popular ones that I have at my place. After putting raindrop or any oils on your back, use a hot compress. You can get a heat pad. You can easily buy these on Amazon. They're very safe. They're very good for like menstrual cramps and stuff like that. I have a pad like this. You can charge it. Some of them are chargeable. Some of them are plugged in USB. Very nice. I find that after I put raindrop on my back and do a heat pad and just lie on it, usually that's what I do. I don't lie on my face. I just get somebody to put raindrop on my back, and then I just put the heat pad on my back, and then I just lie on it and I just go to sleep. And I love that. And I wake up feeling so refreshed. Take a nap. Amazing. I love valor. I think valor, everybody needs valor because everybody needs courage. Everybody feels sometimes lost. So yes, this are the one size fit all oils for me. And then another one's my emergency kit. This is my emergency kit. You can feel free to screen cap. 60-second rule. The reason why I put this here is if you sustain any kind of emergency situation, if you can put it within the first 60 seconds, right? From my own experience, you can actually reverse it. Pretty cool stuff. I've witnessed it multiple times. Reverse it meaning reverse it. Frankincense, helichrysum. This is definitely my emergency kit. I use Juva Flex instead of Digest. I know Digest is amazing, but I love Juva Flex because it works like Digest for my family, except that it's not as cold. because it doesn't have peppermint, and it also works really well for the kidneys and to support your kidneys, to support your liver, juva, support your kidneys, support your digestive system. So I love this because it's multi-purpose. Okay, helichrysum, everybody knows what it uses. It's immortal. You know, you can't die. Northern Lights black spruce. Oh, it's the North America version of sacred frankincense. That's all I call it. All right. Cobaiba is a magnifier. I think it has been known, too little is known about this oil. I love to put the vitality in my water. It works amazing. I add it to everything. Every time when I use a combination of oil, I always add cobaiba because it's a magnifier, right? It sort of acts like peppermint acts like a magnifier too, but because of how mild the smell of cobaiba is, I love it. It's perfect for children, for small children. It's perfect for people who are sensitive to smell, of sensitive skin. It's very mild, but it's very powerful. It is very high in beta-caryophyllene. If you can Google that and look up what you use it for, beta-caryophyllene. I think I talked about that previously in the Ecuador class. So you guys know what beta-caryophyllene does. It's amazing. And Melrose. I think people don't know Melrose well enough. I use it just like tea tree. I don't use tea tree at home, except for some recipes that I found online. Other than that, I use it on my skin. I use it when I have an open cut or something. And I use it very, very often. I can use it on my gums. I can use it. Melrose. I love Melrose. And actually, in fact, when Gary has pets, if their pets injured themselves, he would put Melrose on, and then he would slather animal scent ointment on. And I have 7 cats at home, but my cat just had 5 babies. So if you follow me, you'll see their photos. And when I first got my first cat last year in August, 3 days later, she had a skin, because she's a rescue. So she didn't come very healthy. Now she is. She had a skin, I don't know what you call it, like a candida patch, and the hair was falling out. I was so worried. And I remember what Gary did. So I just dropped one drop of Melrose on it. And then I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to dilute it. Doesn't matter, I'll put V6 on. So my cat actually walked around the whole day smelling like a diffuser. I know, they say that cats aren't supposed to use tea tree. It doesn't work for Young Living. So I did that. Cat is amazingly healthy now. She just had like 5 babies 2 months ago. So Melrose, I love it for skin, any kind of skin thing, just put it on, slather animal scent ointment on it, cover it to protect it. You can repeat it as often as you like. And I love the smell. And then purification, very similar. Mosquito bites, like purification and Melrose. I think it's a great combination. So these are the ones that I always have. I even have one whole set in my car. Well, my car parks in a covered parking lot. In Hong Kong, most of our parking lots are covered in the shopping mall and everything. So I keep this whole set in my car for emergency because I tend to have accidents. I'm very clumsy. So I love using purification and Melrose together, like layer on. I like to put it on my neck, down. I find that it helps me drain my lymphatic, and then purification is great for skin, great for mosquito bites, insect bites, great for first aids. I don't know if you can say that in the US. I can say insect bites, it's compliant in Hong Kong. Juvaflex is great for kidneys, liver, digestive system. So I use Juvaflex instead of Digize. Helichrysum is great for first aid, emergency. I can say first aid in Hong Kong. Sacred frankincense, these two best compote ever. If I have with anybody who hit themselves or have any kind of injury, I don't run to the person who injured themselves. I run to the oils. I run to the sacred frankincense and helichrysum, and then I go to look for the person who injured herself. Okay, Northern Lights waxfuse, it works the same as sacred frankincense. It's amazing insect repellent, super mild. You can diffuse it. You can put it directly on skin. It's very, very mild. Okay, these are my single oils. Well, my emergency kit. This is the one that I use for my respiratory system. I started with Dorado Azul, Eucalyptus Blue, Raven, and Arcee because these are exclusive Young Living oils. These are the oils that Gary found in the Amazon forest. I love Dorado Azul and Eucalyptus Blue. And the funny thing is, I found that people who have had respiratory issues as a child, maybe sinusitis or asthma as a child, even if they have recovered, they can smell these two oils and they will repel it. They'll go, oh my God, it smells like dirty owls, or I can't stand the smell. But you know what? I have found that if somebody cannot stand the smell of something, of respiratory oil, it means that the body hasn't fully recovered. So this is what I usually do when somebody repels an oil, the smell of an oil. I ask them to put it on the bottoms of the feet every night first, and then cover it with something that they like. Cover it with a smell that they like. Cover it with an oil of the smell that they like. So if you find Dorado Azul, Eucalyptus Blue very, very smelly, you can't stand it, put it on the bottoms of your feet every night, or Digest, and then cover it with something you love, like Peace and Calm, or Valor, or RC, every night for about 3 months. And one day, after about 3 months, 90 days, you'll find that, oh, the oil doesn't smell as weird anymore. I actually starting to like that smell. I've seen it multiple times and it works amazingly. And I love Palo Santo. It's not exclusive Young Living, but it's amazing. It works for everything. It's an amazing insect repellent. That's what I should do. Because I've been having ants. I bought this pineapple and I left it on the kitchen counter and it rot without me knowing, because it's decided to rot from the inside. And so it attracted a lot of ants. Now I've got ants in my kitchen. So I've been spraying thieves and I've been very busy. So I haven't really been dealing with it. I can do that. I can spray Palo Santo. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sprinkle Palo Santo on the kitchen counter. Yes. And then Australian Blue. I think Australian Blue do not get enough attention. It's amazing. It's like the best respiratory oil I've ever used. I like to put it on roller, and then I like to roll it on the side of my neck, on my chest. The smell is amazing. It's very, very mild on skin. It's amazing for children, especially for respiratory stuff. Oh, it works so well. It's like the hidden secret. Like nobody knows about it. I've never heard anybody talk about it. You have to try it. It's crazy. It's crazy good. And especially because the smell is so mild. Oh, highly, highly, highly recommend. I always have it at home. I always travel with it. Okay. And then for my brain, I love these three: clarity, brain power, and common sense. I find that people ask me what the difference is. I find that clarity is more for like procedures, for math, for numbers, for clarity. It also helps you in other than current thing that you have to solve. It also helps you clarify, have clarity in your vision, in your life purpose. It's fascinating. Okay, so clarity, this is what I use it for, especially when I need to do like math or numbers or procedures, systems, And then brain power, it's for understanding complex ideas. These are just from my experience, from memory, from remembering. So brain power is amazing for studying, for a test, or for studying, for a dictation or an exam. Diffuse it, put it on a necklace, keep sniffing it when you are studying. I remember when I was doing my PhD, there's some pretty complex theories that I needed to understand. And I remember I was like reading it. I was reading something. I was like, oh God, I don't understand this, because I learn very quickly and I understand concepts very quickly. But I remember when I was doing my PhD course, there were some concepts that I couldn't understand. And I was like, usually I read it once and I understand it. I was reading this like twice and I'm like, oh God, I can't understand. So I grabbed a bottle of brain power and I held it on my nose and I read the information again. And then I understand. It's crazy. You have to try it. I'm like, oh my God, this oil. And actually, in fact, the first time I knew about it was I had a friend. I used to teach classes before Young Living Hong Kong opened. I used to teach classes on my own, and I do it once a month. And then I have friends who would come every month, every time. And I always just talk about the starter kit, right? The oils, 10 bottles of oils. I always only talk about that. And then every time I would see her and I would ask her, why are you coming? You heard it already. She goes, Joanne, you have so much information. I can't remember. And sometimes I don't understand. So I keep coming because I learn something new every time. And then I think and then I gave her a bottle of brain power. and she put it on during the class, and then she never came back. She's actually the one who told me how she used brain power. She goes, yeah, the brain power really works. Now I don't have to come back. Isn't that funny? So it's great for learning. And she also told me that she was learning the violin because her children were learning violin. So she thought that like as a role model, she wanted to learn too. But because she's like much older, right? She's like in her 40s, and she was learning violin, she was finding it very difficult. And then she put brain power on, and immediately she could learn it. It's crazy. You gotta try. And then common sense. Oh my God, I love common sense. You think I am very eloquent and I am very organized in my thoughts. I never used to be. When I first started with Young Living, like 11 years ago, I couldn't express myself properly. I swear, I put this on. I used 3 bottles of this for 3 months, 90 days. And then my thoughts are more organized. I remember the first time I used it was in the class that Francis Fuller was teaching, January 2012. I've always had a good memory, but I wasn't always very good at presenting myself. Okay. And I remember she was passing the common sense bottle around, and I was laughing about it, and I put some on. And then I remember the next day when I talked to my daughter, I was very organized in my thoughts. I was very systematic. I was like very logical. It was one step at a time. I explained something. I think I explained something that she wasn't supposed to do. And I still remember after I said it, I was like, whoa, what just happened? Who was that? Just was so organized in her steps, in her logic. And I remember my ex-husband then and my daughter both looked at me going like, wow, Mom, that was very clear. And even my ex-husband was going like, hey, that was very well said. You know, common sense, really. I think everybody needs a bottle right now, especially in this world. Hey, Christina, some of the people that you've tagged aren't in this group, so they can't really see, I think. Okay. And please only tag people that are in this group and only add members, existing members in the group. If you want to add people, if you want the people who aren't members yet, please do a watch party with them instead. Okay. Because if they're not members, they won't know. They will think that I'm selling. I'm not selling. Okay. Because whatever you guys buy, I don't benefit from it. Young Living does, but I just want to share my experience. So these are my skincare must-have. I know there's a lot because I use these 2 alternately. Okay. Sacred frankincense and frankincense, I use them alternately. I don't use them both at the same time. And sacred sandalwood and Royal Hawaiian sandalwood. I use Royal Hawaiian more because personally, I feel that this is better. It's just my experience, works better for me. So jasmine, I love it. It's very hydrating. It helps with your skin elasticity. Northern Lights Flaxroot, crazy good for the winter. You can directly put it on your skin. I like to mix them together in my dry skin serum. I use half a bottle of dry skin serum and I just add these in. I've shared that in my last class. And then sacred frankincense is amazing for fine lines and wrinkles. Sandalwood are amazing. Yeah, then please add them into the group, Christina. Please. And then sandalwood is amazing for lifting and firming. It's sort of like I call it like a natural Botox. Rose, of course, it's beautiful. I think all women should at least have 1 bottle of rose, and just because the smell is so strong, you can just use your hand and just to dab behind your ear. I like to add like 10 drops into my 15 ml bottle. It's amazing. It's beautifying. It helps you glow, your skin glow. It's very anti-aging. It's very, very good. My emotional balancing armor. So these are my emotional oils. I love every oil in Young Living, but these are just the ones, the eight bottles that I think everybody should have. I started with belief because that was my first convention. My second convention was transformation. I think belief and transformation goes hand in hand together, because if you do not believe, you cannot transform. So, but first, the reason why I put forgiveness first is because we need to forgive ourselves and move on from the past. That's the first thing that we have to do. Forgiveness and surrender work hand in hand, obviously with acceptance. In fact, I made this presentation before I saw this chart. Acceptance and forgiveness, I feel like they go hand in hand, really. So forgiveness, acceptance, surrender, to allow things to unfold. Stop fighting it. let go of control. This is what surrender means. Okay. So forgiveness, acceptance, surrender, these two go hand in hand. And then after that, after you've forgiven yourself, you've surrendered, you can believe and transform. Then you do believe in transformation. And then once you feel like you can add on, you do highest potential and magnify your purpose. I feel like these two work great together. And then in order to magnify your purpose and reach your highest potential, you need to be grounded. I love Sacred Mountain and I love the new bottle Roots. Sacred Mountain has helped me a lot. It's connected to your source, connected to the ground, give you this really grounded feeling. People ask me what's the difference between grounding and Sacred Mountain. I feel like Sacred Mountain gives me strength more. So not only am I grounded, I also have strength. It's like a mountain, right? And it also helps me connect to the source, to nature. And White Angelica, obviously you have to stay positive and protect from negative energy. There's a lot of negative energy going around now on social media, in our lives, in our cities, in our community. So stay positive. So I love these 8 oils. Obviously, Have a Great Day also works amazingly well. You can start with that if you're not sure. Start with Have a Great Day, which are White Angelica, Harmony, Valor, and Joy. Do that and then go to these. Amazing, amazing, amazing. I love these oils. And then my sleep company. I love these 5 sleep oils. I love them. The first one I used was Tranquil. It has Roman chamomile, cedarwood, and lavender in it. So apparently, so funny, my 3-year-old daughter, she's not 13. She told me, Mommy, this is how you put Tranquil on. She would take it. Oh, I have a bottle here on my desk. She'd take it and then she'd go, Honey, this is how you put Tranquil on. She'd roll it around her temple. She'd put it across her head and then she'd roll it on this temple. And then I had no idea why, but I followed her and it works. And then one time at convention, I was at Max Schroeder's presentation and he said, Roman chamomile can help you switch off your brain. That's just what it does. And that's when I realized why my daughter tells me to roll it across my forehead. So I do that, I roll it, and then I roll it behind my ear and then roll it across. I do this round thing across all around my head, Tranquil, and then I put it on my wrists. I rub my wrists together and then I go. And I actually have a lot of friends who are on sleeping pills, medical sleeping pills, and I send them Tranquil, and they don't need the sleeping pills anymore. Isn't that amazing? And I love sleepy eyes. I think I have all of these bottles next to my bed. I just put Tranquil on, and then depending on how I'm feeling that day, because I've found that I'm actually quite stressed at night because I would wake up holding like my wrist and then grinding my teeth. So I also put Peace and Calming. I find that if I put Peace and Calming on my ear, I'm much calmer. It really helps stress away. I love putting it behind my neck. It helps relaxes my neck and helps relax my brain. Calm. This is amazing. I love the smell. I just put it on my nose and then I put it like all over. Sometimes I put all of them on. I just love them. I have a little holder and I just take a little cup, like a paper cup next to my bed that I put these on. And then peppermint. What has peppermint got to do with it? Because Chinese doctors believe that if your liver is heaty, if you're not having enough sleep, you can it will affect your sleep and you'll have a lot of dreams and you can remember them. So putting peppermint on your liver will release that heat and it'll help you sleep actually. So that works for some people. You have to try it out, okay? And of course, diffusing oils. Oh, just thinking about that makes me really calm. So yeah, that's it. That's it for today. And that is all for the 101 Reasons to Fall in Love with Young Living class. It's all finished. I might upload some of my recording into the group so that you can have some more information. I'll probably do that next week for Seed to Seal so that you still have something to watch. Thank you so much. If you believe that you have gained knowledge, I would love for you to donate to Young Living Foundation. We do have a special link so that I have an idea of how much we managed to collect on behalf of the 101 Reasons for Young Living. I wanted to see how much this project can help Young Living Foundation raise. So the link is in the group. We're going to revive it. And then all of these will be kept in this group, you're welcome to continue to add people in your team into the group, to tag them, to do watch parties. Gretchen is gonna help me put all the classes into guides. Then when you come in, you can just look for them in the guides. I'm gonna continue putting really good information from YL Drop into the group. I'm very passionate about Young Living. I am here to stay. I'm always going to be here until when I'm 120, 130 years old. I'm very grateful for what we have in Young Living. I believe we have to share this. We have to tell our community. And I would love for you to be able to share this with your team so that they understand more about Young Living. And I thank you all for your support in the past 13 weeks, actually more than that, because we skipped a week during convention and during the 2 weeks when I was at Diamond Retreat. And thank you so much. Thank you, Bill, for always tuning in on time. I continue to want to connect with all of you into the group. I will continue to add people, to approve people into the group, and just keep using these resources, because it's difficult to find all these resources in one place. And especially about the old times when Gary started, and just let me know what you want to learn. Make a post and ask for information. Don't ask me specific product problems, because that's too specific. But if you say, oh, I want to do this, I want to learn about, I don't know, summertime or supplement or Chinese meridian massage or whatever, just let me know. And yes, Gretchen is asking me, are the interviews coming? I have been meaning to look to contact them. They're currently very busy at Goat Retreat. I'm trying to find a good time. I don't think there's ever a good time, but I'm trying to invite also some diamonds like Anna Maya. It depends on what kind of information that you guys want. Anna Maya is an arsenal of knowledge. So I really want your feedback on what kind of topic. Give me a topic, then we can go for the topic, right? It's much easier. And I can interview Sherry Ross, I can interview Anna Maya, I have a good relationship with them. I can interview Marcella, or you can just, if you want, just their stories, their story, how they started with Young Living, and who they think Gary was, what they know about Gary, or stuff like that. Okay, so maybe I'll just write up some topic and then let you guys choose and vote for it. Okay, so, well, thank you. Have a wonderful summer. I think most likely I'm going to upload the Seek to Seal procedure, the Seek to Seal presentation to the group next Thursday. Then you can all watch it. Okay, I've done a few presentations in English, and I'll see what I can do. And until then, oil up, stay healthy and happy, raise your vibration, and have an amazing, amazing weekend. And I love you all, and I'm sending you all love. Young Living is here to stay. We are the largest essential oil company in the world. All our essential oils are handmade, and we will be even more powerful. And with your help, I'm sure we can do it. Okay? Yeah, you can also stick the comments like Bill, respiratory and neuropathy. Neuropathy, I'll probably need to ask somebody who have more experience on it. Okay, so until then, I'll see ya. Bye. Thank you for tuning in.